Welcome to American Self-Defense Concepts. I'm Nick,
I'm Doug.
and welcome to Weapons of Opportunity. Welcome back to another episode of American Self-Defense Concepts, Weapons of Opportunity. I'm Nick.
I'm Doug.
So today, we're really going off book today. Today, we're going to have a debate
On the age-old question of what is the best martial art? This topic has been around since the beginning of time, and this will be going on until
the end of time.
the zombie apocalypse. I can't even say the damn word. I'll get back to you.
So, yeah, I mean, this question has been around for a long time. Everybody has always different answers, or some of them sometimes a little bit more for personal gain, some of those answers, just because the person doing the interview is more interested in their martial art, recognized and everything like that. But we're going to give you an honest opinion. So, and the way we're going to categorize this, because a lot of different martial arts are categorized in different groups. Like, say, you got your combat sports martial arts, like your jiu-jitsu, your boxing, and your Muay Thai, even wrestling. Those could all fall under your combat sports.
Keyword there, sports.
Sports. And then you got your self-defense schools that teach more. They might have some boxing incorporated into that. They'll have like Krav Maga, your Filipino martial arts, more intended for protecting yourself out on the street or altercations that you might run into, no matter if you're in the streets or where you're at.
And or Master Self-Defense System.
Yeah, he's cool.
So,
but anyways, and then we also got the third category, your traditional martial arts, like your Taekwondo, your Karate, and your Judo.
And last but not least, you still got your fantasy martial arts.
Bullshito.
George Dillman, thank you. No touch, I'm gonna knock you out.
Which I think we can all agree that ain't working.
Well, and every time they get dumb enough to get called out and try it, they get knocked out.
Yeah.
So, how's that really working for you?
Yeah, no touch martial arts is definitely bullshit. So
stay away from that.
Yeah.
Unless you got soccer written across your forehead.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's some principles in it. It teaches, more about pride and stuff in yourself. I mean, I see a good basis for that if you're wanting to build self-confidence, but don't build the wrong self-confidence and think your no touch is going to work out, no matter what altercation you're in, whether you're in sport or out on the street. So, I mean, like I said, when you decide and pick your martial art, go in it thinking of what you want out of it is going to be one of my biggest points on this. Okay.
So you're giving opinions before we even debated.
Well, I'm just throwing a tidbit of advice, but I'll throw my complete opinion at the end. So.
What? Okay then.
Well, I'm just saying, when you consider martial art, go in knowing what you want out of it.
Right.
So, okay, so start it off.
Well, you've been doing all the talking.
Well, I know.
So let's start
with.
would you have number one sports?
Yeah.
Sport based?
Yeah. Combat sports.
Okay.
So, I mean, me opinion wise, I think combat sports is a pretty good base for anything that you do. I mean, if you train in it, I mean, if you're working in a gym or going MMA, and actually working to fight, yeah, you'll have some benefits out of it because you'll understand how the body works, what to watch for, footwork, and you'll also have the concept of, you'll have advantage people on the street because, half the people on the street don't even have half that knowledge. But it has become more common nowadays. Is the other thing on that. So I think, I mean, combat sports definitely, I think, range up there, and I think provide a very good base and a good edge. Now on the streets, I mean, there's a difference with that too, or some of the real life situations that combat sports might not teach. Okay.
Well, it's as long as you know your situation and don't fall and develop bad habits from studying one particular, I'm not going to say one style, but one, if you've done sport all your life, yeah, chances are it'll probably work on the street.
Mm-hmm.
But it also develops some bad habits that aren't good for a street situation.
Yeah.
But as long as you acknowledge that and know that, you're still off.
Yeah, because half the battle in that is understanding your situation. Because, I mean, if you don't take the time to understand your situation that's going on and go straight into fighting, you're going to get in fights all the time where there might be other tactics to not even have to fight at all. And I said, yeah, there are some good combat sports out there. Like boxing's always been a good base. Jiu-jitsu was great for ground game and body control.
So if you even look at it through in the Western Hemisphere, if you look at it, 50s, 60s, it was about judo. Judo is the thing. If you don't study judo, you don't know shit.
Right.
Okay. So and then that transitions. You get into your karate, some of your traditionals. You got briefs that kind of comes up and calls out all the bullshit. So there's worth of Jeet Kune Do and then Taekwondo kind of takes over for a while, and then you got Krav Maga, and I'm sure I missed some in here somewhere, but back in the 80s, late 70s, 80s, and even into the 90s, Taekwondo was the shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's always a martial arts trending at some point.
Right, and right now it's jiu-jitsu.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's Brazilian jiu-jitsu, American jiu-jitsu,
Traditional jiu-jitsu,
Aki jiu-jitsu, there's a common theme. So in 10 years, what's going to be the flavor of the month? So my advice right here is talking about that. Don't worry about the lineage. I can't say that damn word. Lineage of, hey, this is the thing that bothers me about, it's good to recognize the past and understand it, but don't make a god out of the guy. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna throw American Kimpo out here under the bus here for a minute. This being around it and that whole mentality, don't get me wrong, I love the art, but putting Ed Parker up on a list like he's a god in the dojo, if you didn't learn it here, don't bring it here type mentality. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love American Kimpo. I don't agree with some of the politics and things that are forced on your throats in traditional systems. I got to wear my master's name on my dobok or my gi because I'm supporting that branch.
Yeah. Oh, and the whole other thing with that too, you start to notice that more when martial arts get big, or a certain style gets big. They make it a business.
Exactly. I mean, look at you see it in MMA.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, he's from so-and-so's camp.
Mm-hmm.
Well, even back in, I can't remember the guy's name out of Iowa that had a string there with Matt Hughes and Tim Duncan, and I mean, they had a lot of James Pulver, or Jen Pulver, whatever his name was. They had a good corral. Mm-hmm. But even through that shifts through time. Some camps are better than others. We've got a great one right up over here in Colorado. I think it's called Altitude Martial Arts or MMA or something like that. And they have got some awesome fighters coming out of that camp.
Mm-hmm. And it's that so just be mindful too. Like I said, when it comes to flavor of the month martial arts or something might be big or trending, really, I mean, take a look at it and understand too. I mean, people are going to take advantage of that martial art too, and you try to scam people out of it as
And
well.
welcome to Western civilization. We're gonna make you buy a bunch of stuff and make you pay for your testings, and it makes it all about the money. The money.
And I mean, don't get us wrong too. I mean, we pull from a lot of different styles. Are we masters at every single style? Hell no, we're not. I mean, over time we've pulled from different martial arts and we've pulled what's useful. Why is that? Are we masters at it? Oh no, we're not. But you learn to pick up what is useful to you and what's going to work for you.
We're eclectic.
Mm-hmm. We're almost like a Jeet Kune Do,
A modern day. Technically, we were doing MMA long before MMA was even around.
Yeah.
And it's still based off of Jeet Kune Do.
Mm-hmm.
Even when I was coming up training through, I got to go through a couple Jeet Kune Do seminars and made some good friends in there. Worked a lot with some of the older traditionalists and learned a lot. And, we're talking, my uncle even, but that was still back in the day when my karate's better than your karate.
Mm-hmm.
Tang Soo Do or Taekwondo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. At the end of the day, none of that makes a bit of sense. It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Moral of the story. Whatever you study is not going to make you a superhero.
No.
What you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. Hard work, discipline, effort, which is a pretty much standard across any martial art you deal with.
Only other thing with that too is don't go studying one martial art and think you're going to be all of a sudden the biggest badass on the block. You're going to be dumb if you do one martial art and think you know everything. Well, I mean, we've been doing this combined for about 50 years. We're still learning all the time. I mean, we're not just studying one martial art. We try to learn what we can and wherever we go. And I mean, you should always have a sense of wanting to learn. That's your biggest thing right there. Is you always have to be learning. Don't stop. Keep learning because there's always something new out there.
So when you're looking at schools, my best advice is, number one, find an instructor that you like, is capable of actually teaching you something, whether it be sport, whether it be traditional. No George Dillman shit. And just stay completely away from that shit. Whether it be Krav Maga, it's going to be about your instructor, the attitude that they bring with it. If they've got the old school mentality, if you didn't learn it here, don't bring it here, I would avoid that place like the plague.
Because, I mean, we're one of those ones, we're going to help support you with developing a passion for martial arts, regardless. I mean, if you start out here, great. That's fine. I mean, we're always going to encourage you to go learn. I mean, even it's like, hey, I met this guy, like Carolina or Colorado, or wherever you end up going. It's like, hey, I found this instructor and he's helping add on to this, or, I mean, knowledge is knowledge. I mean, we want you to build your knowledge no matter where you go. I mean, if an instructor doesn't support you in that, are they really helping you build yourself up to be what you can be or what you want to do for you?
And I can elaborate on this because I do this every time I go out on the road. Okay? I'm not going to mention any styles or schools, but I stopped in many places. I've found some really awesome guys that run their schools, and you can tell they love what they do. Mm-hmm. It is a passion. And then I walk into other schools, and I can walk in and get to talking with them, and they just kind of look at you like, "Are you going to give me money?"
Mm-hmm.
And that's all they care about is the money. Sign a contract, buy a book. Stay away from that.
Yeah,
learn from the people that
have a passion
love
for it.
What they do and have a passion for it. You will learn a lot more in that aspect
And you know those people are going to take the time with you too to show you those things and have the patience to show you as well.
And you'll find that most of these guys that have the passion are very detail oriented, and that is very important. I'm not going to knock any traditional systems. Yes, I am. There are a lot of even traditional systems, even your wushu or kung fu and things like this and that. But you'll run into schools and hey, come on in. We'll sell you a contract, sell you a belt, and all you do is learn patterns. You don't get any real
application
out of it. So be wary. Do your homework. That's the moral of the story. Do your homework. Go somewhere that is willing to help, has a passion, and you will learn a ton.
Yeah. So getting back on topic here. So combat sports, like I said, I think provides a pretty good base.
It does, as long as you're looking at ranges. If you watch a lot of the...
So, before you get into detail here, ranges, what are you talking about when you talk about ranges?
The ranges of a fight, where fights take place.
So, tell me about them, because I'm sure they don't know.
Well, okay, so most of your combat sports are going to be either your long range, where you can kick. So a lot of your traditional Taekwondo Olympic tournaments and goofy things like that. So you got your long range. Then you got your mid ranges, where most of the sport combat, your boxing, your Muay Thai, MMA, a lot of that takes place in the mid range.
Punches and kicks.
Punches and kicks. Then you got
phone booth.
And if you don't know what a phone booth is, fly back to the 1980s or before. Have a dime or a quarter.
I guess another good kind of idea of what the space would be like in that. Try imagine fitting 2 people in a bathroom stall.
Yeah, it's about the same. So, and here's where the beauty of your Kintao Silots, your Indonesian arts, they are awesome in that close range. And then the last range, of course, being on the ground.
Which is where you see a lot of your jiu-jitsu at.
Yes. So even in watching MMA, there's a lot of mid-range fight and ground fight. So they're learning multiple disciplines, but only working a couple ranges. So your Muay Thai, your kickboxing, things like that, they spend a lot of time in that mid-range. So how does that applicate out into the street? Pretty good, actually, because if you watch most street situations, a lot of that is done in the mid-range.
Well, then I think a lot of that relates to people's comfort zones, too.
Exactly.
People are going to fight where they're comfortable at, space-wise between somebody. It's like, you're in my bubble, I'm going to fight you, we're at the comfort of my bubble here. So, yeah, I mean, if you find disciplines that are working multiple ranges, that's going to be beneficial to you. Where combat sports does cover a lot of that, which it's good. Like I said, it provides a very good learning base. The only thing, I mean, I have against combat sports, there's rules. There is rules. It's going to hinder you from doing certain things, the habits that might not be beneficial for you. And then also, I mean, a lot of people get in that sport mindset too sometimes out on the street. Which, I mean, if you're sitting there going in 10 fisticuffs somebody on the street, what are you going to do with somebody that has a gun or a knife or...
that's willing to use it if they have to.
Or has the intent to actually kill you? Because there is no tap outs.
Yeah. Balls, eyes, everything's a live target. So this goes back to doing your homework.
Well, and then to bring this up too. Combat sport, and an understanding situation, domestic violence. What are you going to do in that situation when it's your loved one? Shoot them in the head, especially if they have a weapon too at that point. Are you going to be able to hurt your loved one?
You got to know your levels of of force, use of force, and know what's right for the situation. But in most of the domestics, I'll never stop saying this. best advice,
walk away.
walk away.
Yeah. So,
So back to this martial arts debate.
okay. So I think we've pretty much covered a lot of the combat sports. I'm one of the, like I said, I think it provides a very good base and a good place to start with learning. And I mean, and if you're looking for fitness, I mean, it's good things to look for fitness. It does help with self confidence.
That's with any martial art.
Mm-hmm. And then, I mean, to actually learn something that's application, because that's everything, learning everything application wise too in your combat sports.
Understanding what, because you don't have time to sit there and go, well, my instructor says 1, 2, 3. Mm-hmm. No, you got to be able to flow. It's about flow. Mm-hmm. And being able to move right into one thing into another, and don't sit here and try to force technique. If it doesn't work, move on to the next thing. Mm-hmm. You got to be able to flow.
So, I mean, combat sports to me, very good base. Like I said, I mean, the only things like that.
I wouldn't even single out combat sports, any martial art, other than, did I knock you out? No touch bullshit. Yeah. Any martial art, whether it be kung fu, your silats, your American kimpos, your karates, they're all going to give you a solid base of foundation. Mm-hmm. It just depends on where you want to learn. Mm-hmm. And that's why I'm going to throw a little promo in here for us. That's why we don't say we only teach karate here. No, eclectic. We're going to give you a toolbox. We're going to fill it up as much as you can. You're going to figure out what works for you.
And we don't teach that 1, 2, 3. This is how you defend against this or work on this. It's more, we're going to give you the tools. We're going to show you how to apply those in different ways. Because, I mean, there's not one way to handle something. There's always multiple ways. It's just a matter of, we're going to teach you how to work off of what you got and show you what you have, and you're going to learn to flow. It's like, oh, what do I got here? What does this do? Kind of, we're helping you learn and see things that you're getting and working off of them.
And that covers all 4 ranges of that fight. Mm-hmm. So yes, we start you on your feet. Where do most fights start? On your feet. Mm-hmm. Clear down to groundwork. We want you to be comfortable in every aspect of a range of a fight.
Yeah. And then, so, cover combat sports, traditional martial arts. Okay, so traditional martial arts. I mean, you got some good ones out there. And,
there are great ones out there.
And again, I mean, some of those specific focus specifically on certain ranges, though, too. Just like, again, combat sports.
Yeah. Well, here's how I look at it. The people, they do wushu and things like that, appreciate the art, the beauty of the art that they're doing, the discipline, respect the discipline these people put in to that training to get good, excellent at it. Mm-hmm. It's not, hey, I just stuck a dime in a gumball machine and hey, look, I'm a master. No, there's a lot of effort, and whether you think it would be useful in a street situation or not, doesn't make a crap. Admire, respect the art itself. It doesn't matter what style it is. They're all good.
Yeah. And I think the one thing I like about the traditionals is the values and codes that they usually teach. Because you might not get those in like your gyms and whatnot.
Right.
I mean, there's more. They focus more on building you as a person as well, while teaching you things. And that's the part I like about the traditional stuff. Anyway.
Yes, there's a lot of self-discipline and disciplinary structure in that, and that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Building yourself up as a person, but you're also getting to learn some things too. Because I mean, even in the traditional martial arts, there's stuff that you can still apply out on the streets and everything like that.
So yeah, at the end of the day, I'm still going to go back to it doesn't matter which martial arts you pick,
Mm-hmm.
other than George Dillman and his no-touch bullshit. I don't know how many times I'm going to say that.
No.
Stay away from that shit. Use something practical. I mean, even Master Ken, shout out Master Ken, you know, he jokes a lot, but underneath that, he's a very serious martial artist.
Yeah.
And, you know, even Doug Marcaida, he's a easygoing, pretty good guy. He's not a big school owner. He actually teaches out of the back of his spot and out of the back of his house.
Mm-hmm.
So don't judge a school by its body count and promises. This is where you've got to learn the instructor.
Do your homework.
Extra, you know, is it going to be a good place for me to learn, and is it going to be worth my time to learn?
And then last category was like your self-defense schools. I mean, I think self-defense schools can also bring, they're kind of like a mix between combat sports and your traditional.
Well, even since I brought up Master Self-Defense Systems, old Fred, there's actually a clip of him out there doing MMA.
Mm-hmm.
And it did not fare well. He did not fare well in MMA. But I also respect what he does, and a statement that he made, if you come into my world where, you know, you're in trouble.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's what it is, you know, and that's part of the things that, you know, when you take somebody else from their world and try to throw them into the other, where there is rules, you know, and that does make a big difference.
Yeah.
If you tell somebody they can't do something when that is part of their world, you're taking a piece of them away from them that they can't use.
You know, so example, a guy, you know, that does jiu-jitsu, you know, get a guy down in a headlock, he messes with the wrong Sealot guy or Cali guy or somebody that's based in weapons, you know, give you a headlock, they don't care, they're just going to stab you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and that's things that sport doesn't take in consideration in a street situation is your most dangerous altercations, because you don't know what you're going to get.
Mm-hmm. And like I said,
if I get in close with this and this guy stabs me, fight's pretty much going to be over, or I'm going to be dead, one of the two. So, I mean, you got to be able to move from mindset to mindset to mindset.
And I think that's the difference between all three of those is mindset and what you're after in each of those categories too. That's what's going to make the difference of what you're looking for, what your intent is.
What do you want to learn? Mm-hmm. Do I want to learn a traditional system? Do I want to learn a sports system? Do I want to learn self-defense scenarios? Because they are very different worlds.
Mm-hmm. And you're going to get out what you want when you know what, I mean, when you go to those worlds. Because, like I said, I mean, are you going to really learn stuff about weapons in MMA? Probably not. You know, it's one of those that you got to go into the different worlds and different perspectives, because each one has its different mindsets. Each one has its different views and and it's great to sit there and go into the different worlds, because yeah, sometimes they might not get along, but they can actually help out each other quite a bit too.
You know, you get some of your sports guys, they play with us, and we bring up a lot of shit that they don't even think about. Mm-hmm. Pardon my French. Mm-hmm. You know, especially if you think about it in a life and death situation, you know, they're not going to be expecting a blade to be inserted. Mm-hmm. And that's part of the training that we do is, if my life's on the line, I'm going to use whatever it takes to hopefully walk away.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, even just technique and application wise too. I mean, some of those can go hand in hand. I mean, even with what we do, like self-defense school, and get involved with sports like boxing or something like that. Even just working the different ranges within like a certain sport and everything like that. It's like, wow, I would have never thought about that or something like that. Or show me that again. Or it's like, and they can help each other out.
Yes. But that's going to go back to your, you know, kind of like our networking with the other instructors that we play with in these different styles. And, you know, I've been blessed to be able to work with a lot of people over the last 30 plus years. But they got to be willing and receptive, as well as, you know, I'm a jiu-jitsu guy. We're going to come down here and we're only going to do jiu-jitsu. Then you introduce them back to a little bit of this world. If they're not receptive to that, then you're wasting your time.
Yeah.
But if you find people that we've been lucky enough to work with and meet and still continue to work with, hey, this is, you know, work this out of this. And then we throw in a monkey wrench and get them to start thinking. And wow, yeah, I didn't look at it from that angle.
So, coming up to the end of this here, my answer to the old age question is going to be, there is no best martial arts. All of them have their pros and their cons. My best thing, the best martial arts is going to be the one that you enjoy, you get what you want to learn out of it as well. So, find something you enjoy. Find something that is going to give you the answers that you're looking for. That's my answer on what the best martial art is. It's going to be what's best for you.
What fits you? I mean, some people have physical limitations and some styles just don't work for them. So find something that works for you. So yeah, to me, there is no one best martial art.
No, there isn't.
They're all great. They all have, like I said, respect their beauty of what they are.
Because everybody is different. Everybody's needs are different. Everybody's skill sets are different.
He fights totally different than I do.
So it's whatever works best for you is that answer. Is the answer. Find a martial art or martial arts. Don't limit it to, again, just one. Find the ones that are going to give you the answers that you're looking for and are going to help you build yourself up to learn what you want.
Build up your skill sets.
And that's all the time we got for today's episode. So
yeah, we could ramble on about this for hours.
Yeah.
Trust me, hours. So
I'm Nick.
I'm Doug. Peace out.
Deuces. We appreciate you guys watching our video. Always feel free to subscribe, hit the like button, and also check out the links for the products we have posted in our video.